after Mike, he got me all re-inspired.
All right, David. This is David Norton, running for Auditor of Washington County.
Yes. Hello, and I want to thank Rhonda and Max, and I recruited Rhonda to be the treasurer for the Libertarian Party in this county, and she's pretty much took it and carried it on her back. And what campaign, I have political ideas, but she has campaign ideas. And whatever campaign we've got is Rhonda's work and thinking and energy and creativity. And so I want to thank her for putting this on and doing these things and what she does with Indiana Proud and taping things. And thank all the candidates for coming and supporting this, and the people that came, the voters, taxpayers. So I'm running for auditor, and the auditor keeps the books for the county, keeps the accounts, what what revenues there are, what things are spent on, dispersed, and making sure that things are paid for out of the right. Some revenues are dedicated to certain spending, and then the accounts are looked at by the state, and so the auditor makes sure that everything's on the up and up as far as the books and keeping the books. Claims and bids come through the auditor. All sorts of paperwork, public records are kept by the auditor. I was kind of surprised to find out how much the auditor does and things the auditor's hands goes on. A lot of things are decided by other people, but then all the paperwork and documents comes through the auditor, and the books are kept by the auditor. The auditor also sits in on the meetings of the county council and the commissioners, including the executive sessions. And so that's what the job is, and I think I'm the most qualified candidate here in the county. This has to do with dealing with numbers, and I have a degree from IUS in mathematics. I have a master's degree in statistics from the University of Kentucky, and a degree in industrial engineering and management sciences from Northwestern. So as far as dealing with the numbers, or being able to look at the percentages and seeing this is we're starting to spend money faster than we've been spending in the past. This thing is trending up, this is trending down. Sort of predicting what's going to happen and not, sort of understanding what the numbers are telling us. And I think I know I would be the best candidate for doing that. Another thing is I'm a libertarian, and we know that in this county, I think we have one person out of the 7 on the county council is a Democrat, no commissioners, just a couple of county offices are Democrats based on personality, somebody that had a very good credential or is very personable. But basically this is a Republican county, and so there's going to be a lot of Republicans elected to all of these offices. So the auditor is a check. It's somebody else to look at things. And so to have somebody from another party overseeing and looking over the shoulder is going to be the best thing for the taxpayers. Because if there's a Republican auditor and seeing that something is done wrong by the Republican council or commissioners, are they going to go to the paper and make a big stink out of it, or are they going to help cover it up? So we know the answer to that. I mean, that's human nature. That's not saying about any people, I think people like divided government at the federal level. You want somebody watching for the taxpayers from a different county, and so, or a different party. So I think it would be best to have somebody from a different party as the auditor. And the person running as a Democrat I don't think has any particular qualifications to run for auditor. He's term limited as the sheriff, and he's looking for another job, or maybe they talked him into running for it because he can get elected on the countywide level. But his budgets were, I can't talk about the whole budget, but I think on the overtime hours of employees, he was far exceeded any other department in going over budget. So So I think, all in all, that I am the best candidate. I think an objective person would agree with that. And the other thing, there's things that goes on in government, and they go on in this county. And Mike Fry, you were talking about, you can just take it for granted that the Democrats will be the big spending party, that they're the big government party, and the Republicans tend to be smaller government party. Well, I don't know if you know that, but in Washington County on the local level, this is completely flipped upside down. People are, at the national level, there's some truth to that. But on the local level, it is the Republican Party that is the big government party. It's the Republican Party that brought in land use planning and zoning in the county, in the unincorporated areas. It's the Republican Party that has tried twice, and I think about the last year and a half, to introduce a wheel tax that would tax every wheel of every vehicle, including the spare tire. So if you have a car, you'd pay a tax on 5 wheels. If you're a farmer, you got an awful lot of wheels, hay wagons and different things. This may only be on licensed vehicles, but you got a semi-truck. So, and twice they've tried to bring this up, and they've got a lot of pushback. And hotel tax, the safety tax, and something nobody talks about, this safety tax to pay for the jail. It's an income tax, but if you pay property tax, it is all rebated back to you. So basically, if you don't have an income, you're on welfare or something, I don't think you pay taxes on welfare entitlements, you're not paying the tax. If you own quite a bit of property, this tax gets completely rebated to you. So they have carefully designed a tax that only falls on working people who don't own property. I mean, it's like, let's just make the working poor pay the entire tax of the jail. And nobody's talking about this because they know that the people that read the paper, that keep up with stuff, are the people that have property and pay property tax. Those people pay close attention. But these people are, this is a carefully focused tax on one group of people to carry the whole, and this is the kind of thing that goes on in this county. And they have a lot of executive sessions. Before every regular session, they have executive sessions scheduled a year in advance. And these executive sessions are only supposed to be for personnel matters or actual litigation. Somebody is suing the county. But they have these things scheduled, like in January the 1st, they schedule executive sessions for the whole year before every session. And so they talk in secret, and they are not supposed to be talking about anything except those 2 issues. But they have regular executive sessions scheduled. And people have heard them talking about individuals that are not suing the county, talking about the hotel tax, talking about other things that are not for executive session. And when they did the zoning, they tried to have subcommittees and tried to keep the public out. And then the Office of the Public Counselor for Indiana said, this is a government board. You can't have secret meetings. So rather than open the meetings, they just shut the committees down because they would rather not do it at all if they can't do it in secret. So we have a lot of secret government in this county. And we have no bid contracts and contracts that don't go to the low bidder. I mean, it's such a situation that recently the contractor that gets almost every contract actually had the lowest bid on a contract. And it was on the front page of the paper. It's like, it was, wow, the biggest contractor in the county that gets 95% of all the contracts actually had the lowest bid this time. And it made the front page of the paper. And so when you have and they have lots of no-bid contracts. They just get contracts. And we talked about the roads. They did some experiment with doing this chip and seal, which will basically with the amount of money we got to spend on roads, the only way that we could pave the roads is to do chip and seal on the roads that have not gone bad, and then start applying what's left after we do that to fixing what's gone bad. And the contractor, you know, and they had all this, and after the election, the contractor said, well, you don't want to do that. You can't do that. So we have our main contractor is telling the commissioners, you know, how to build roads and, you know, how to spend. So when you have your contractor telling you how to spend the county's money, no, you should do it this way and you should do this, and they're basically telling us, you know, how to put the money from the taxpayers in their pocket. And frequently, they're not even the second lowest contractor, sometimes the third lowest, and it has cost the county money. And as far as the secret meetings, there was one meeting, Rhonda started filming it, the Board of Tax Appeals,
Yes.
and, well, the Indiana Land Company didn't want to pay that tax rate. They wanted to be taxed like they were a farmer. They had platted land, and so this had to be taxed at a higher level. Well, they went out into the hall and then came back, and then their tax rate was lowered. So this is why you need somebody that is on the inside, that is not part of the powers that be, to watch what's going on. And I would be in the executive sessions, and if they're talking about stuff that's not supposed to be an executive session, I would, when the meeting was over, I would say what happened in it. I would say this is what they talked about, so people would know. And bids come to the auditor. So, and I think this is the only way to get taxes and spending in this county under control is to elect different people. If you, just like Mike Fry was saying, if you elect the same people, then 2-4 years from now you'll be saying, why is all this going on? And I don't know if you, one of my favorite things, and not that many people probably watch The Simpsons, some do, but they had an episode on their Halloween special that had the two aliens that they disguised themselves as Bill Clinton and Bob Dole and took their place, and they were running for president. And then somebody revealed them and pulled off the mask and said, these are two space aliens. They said, it's too late, you're doomed. This is a two-party system. And a guy from the crowd said, hey, we could vote for a third party. He said, what do you want to do, throw your vote away? And then it showed all the humans in chains, and Homer Simpson said, don't blame me, I voted for Kodos. I voted for the lesser of the two space aliens. So if you want something different, vote for a different candidate, not for the least bad of the two candidates that will not save the county or save the republic. Because we're headed for a cliff at the national level. And one party wants to go there in a hot rod, and one wants to go there on a moped. But they're both going toward the cliff. And if they don't have a plan for turning things around, don't vote for them. Don't pick the best. You know, pick somebody that is going to go in a different direction. And in the county level, I want to go in a different direction. Thank you.